You talked about modeling, which is really interesting because, obviously as a leader, I'm sure a lot of coaching is in a lot of ways, it's building up a model in the company. So you have somebody who is the leader doing behavior that they want replicated, as opposed to behavior that, they might see positively, but they wouldn't want done to them by another teammate. How much of the working with clients is one opening their eyes to how other people see them? And I'm sure this goes back to that 360. And then how do you kind of thoughtfully, carefully, methodically, I don't know, get people to recognize the things that they're doing that aren't perceived the way they would like them being perceived and correct some of those behaviors? What does that look like in practice?
First of all, I'll just say that most leaders are completely unaware of just how observed they are. People are watching every move of the leader, what their preferences are, how they speak, what their slang is. I don't know if you've ever worked in a company where everyone uses the same words. A lot of that came from, the early team. This is just, again, old tribal behavior. We signal off of the alpha, right, as mammals. And when a leader comes to us, we do the 360, and they learn that there are all these negative behaviors they have, not constructive ways of giving feedback. They are very testy, they're angry, they're bitter, they're demanding. How are they then surprised when they've built a company where all of those behaviors are exactly, they see them everywhere, right? Every other manager or leader is mimicking what they see from the CEO, from the founders. So it's really important for people to get clear how they want their company to behave is how they should be behaving. And what we often do is to help them establish that norm, since they know they're going to be the role model for the company, we ask them to think of their role models. So we'll do an exercise with a CEO and say, who are the 4 leaders who you most admire and why? What are their attributes? So we might take like the speaking style of this one, the creative thinking of this one, the first order principles of this one, and we'll bring it all together, right? And we put this amalgamated idea of what leadership looks like for this individual, and we make sure it's authentic. Do you actually think that you can demonstrate this, that you can live this way? And then we'll coach to that norm, right? We'll coach to that ideal. Where are you today and where do we need to get to help you transform authentically? I want you to own it. I don't want you to feel like you're acting or faking it, but into the leader that you need to be for this company to be what it needs to be to succeed. Yeah. And it's a really interesting exercise to go through, right? Because you see people suddenly developing this gravitas or developing this ability to communicate. And it's like, I never thought this was available to me. I thought it would feel like faking it, right? To act this way or to speak this way, but I actually own it. I found it at a different part of me that I was telling myself a story, self-limiting belief, what we call it in coaching, that I wasn't that person. But it turns out I can be that person if I want to be.
That seems super helpful in that it also gives people, one, it makes it objective. So, what you're working on then becomes like, well, yeah, I want to become that way. And it's less focused on what's right or wrong about them. And it's more a shared vision, a shared direction about where they want to head. And being objective because of that, I'm guessing allows people to kind of process feedback about themselves maybe a little bit more positively. One of the questions I want to ask on the 360 is, how often do you find that you need to convince people that a 360 is a good thing to do? And what do you tell people who are maybe resistant or hesitant about that?
If somebody is resistant to a 360, I'll just ask them what they're afraid of. What are you afraid of hearing? What do you think these people are going to say? Right? I mean, the 360 is a very private document, right? It is 100% confidential. First of all, it's anonymous. We get feedback from everyone. We anonymize and aggregate it. We take out, identifying information. And then it's handed only to the client, right? We don't give it to board members, whoever's paying for it. We don't even give it to them. It's up to the client if they want to share it with other people. So we try to set some safety with them around that. But the client who's really resistant, there's a deeper conversation to have there. Are they not self-aware? Are they not curious? Do they think they're perfect? Anyone who thinks they're perfect is actually hiding a very deep sense of insecurity. And we try to dig into that. And we try to do that with compassion, sometimes with a ice cold bucket of water, right? Sometimes people need to hear the thing that's really hard to hear. And as coaches, we're often paid to communicate that.